Hello everybody and welcome back to another anti-MLM video. I'm Christina, I'm glad you're here, and I'm very rusty because I pretty much forgot how to film. All of the setup took forever for me to somehow figure out the laptop, the audio, the camera setup because I haven't filmed in weeks. I had a wonderful long vacation in March, taking all of my carryover days from last year. And if you follow me on Instagram, and also if you've seen on the community tab, then you've also seen that I was in Finland, I was in Iceland again, and I was in Ireland. And then it was the Easter break, the Easter holidays. And now I feel very rusty because I filmed a whole lot of videos before March and edited them and uploaded them. And now it's really the first time in a while that I'm sitting down. I think, what am I doing? Who am I? And why is it spring outside when I desperately try to extend winter, at least in Finland and in Iceland? So if I'm a little bit rusty, you know why. And if I look like a Casper-y ghost, it is because I actually got a little bit of a tan with all of the snow around me, and my foundation doesn't match anymore, but I'm not going to get other shades. We will just figure it out. That's a long introduction that is not even relevant to the video, but it will be a short piece of content we're going to take a look at from somebody who is in a network marketing company and whose financial life, whose business, I believe, is pretty much crumbling, and we can see it live and on tape. If you are following MLM Unmasked on Instagram, then you know that they have a lot of focus on Monate, specifically Monate Australia. And if you're interested in these kind of topics, then I would suggest you go ahead and give them a follow. If you don't follow them yet, they really post a lot and do a lot of in-depth research. And one of the topics was how the paychecks are pretty much crumbling from people in Monate Australia, but they're also taking a look at people internationally. In this case, somebody in the United States. That is Ivy. She was a senior executive director. She is still somehow holding on to the upper ranks because she still has people under her that hit certain positions, but she is pretty much crumbling. And we see the desperation in her posts and also in her paycheck. The top income earners for January were announced, and Ivy, former SED, still holding on for dear life to those director ranks. Her paychecks are pretty much crumbling. So she's not even in the top 10, although she rose in the ranks rather quickly when she recruited a lot of people in Australia, and she tries to get one of the people on her team up to a higher rank as well by stacking people from Germany under that individual, which is also not working. They're falling in ranks, they're dropping in ranks slowly but surely. Ivy is at number 12 in the top income earner list in January, and we're going to take a look at a very desperate post from her on Instagram. I will also give you a little bit more feedback and background on why I believe she is doing that specifically. Let's take a look at what she thought was a smart idea at the end of the month to upload to her social media, how she speaks to people on her team, and how she apparently tries to promote her business to people who have never heard of her before, who have never heard of Monate, who have never heard of network marketing. I find it kind of appalling, but it also shows the desperation I think she's going through because she sees that her ranks and her paychecks are crumbling and her team is crumbling as well. And it looks to me like she's not able to build it up. So let's take a look at Ivy and what she thought was a smart idea to post on Instagram. And I will stop as we go along. It's just a couple of minutes. It's a short piece, but I think it is packed with information and we should talk about it. All right. Did I say I'm a little bit rusty? I totally am. It took me 10 minutes to get the audio configurations on my laptop. So this is going to be a great video. Let's listen into what Ivy actually has to say. I will move a little bit over here and then we will hear what she has to say.
Hi guys, I am hopping on here. I'm gonna try a training a little bit differently because I know that our Facebook is now deleting videos after 30 days, which is such a bummer. But I had to get on here really quick because I listen, this business is absolutely insane. If you can't see that in proof of not just my life, but Krista's life, Christina's life, Brittany Rose's life, Britt Beckett's life, Julie Stevens' life, like literally just our uplines alone, not to mention Jacqueline Ortega, Jade Freed, like all of these people that are massively changing their families' lives. Their husbands are leaving their jobs. Like all these crazy things are going on in their lives because of this business. If you cannot see that, I don't know what to tell you. And all I can tell you is that if you come to me and you message me and you're like, oh, March is it. No, it's not. It's not, because it's not even March yet and you're saying March is it.
Let me give you some context and we will take a look at the top 50 income earners Monat announced for January. These are the people that she mentioned here. You might have heard them if you follow anti-MLM. Those are the top people in Monat. People like Julie Stevens, Jacqueline Goldridge, Krista Crawford, that is her upline, whose paycheck apparently is also starting to crumble because of her downline crumbles. Then Krista also crumbles. Jade Free, Christina Smallwood, Faith Drew, and Ivy is at number 12. That is the top income earner list from Monat in January, the global income earner list. Those are the people that are at the top of Monat, financially speaking, and who have pretty much stuck it out for years. Those are the people that had the biggest teams, and they now witness how people are leaving network marketing altogether, how it is more and more difficult to convince people to join them and to join their teams. And I believe that is also the reason why Ivy is on her social media at the end of February, disguised as a training online, yelling at the people in her downline that they cannot stop working at the end of February. She posted this at the end of February. There were just a couple of days left. And she said, well, people on my team tell me March is it. That's when I'm going to be really successful. She will get into the details in a bit. And she says, no, February is it. You need to finish February strong. Now, mind you, these are people on her team and her downline, people she recruited and people they recruited and people they recruited who recruited people and they recruited other people. It's this dynamic that you could call a pyramid where people are stacked on top of each other, and every single person at a center role that crumbles pretty much can make this entire construct crumble. She is yelling at independently contracted salespeople who allegedly run their own businesses. These are not her employees. These are not people she pays to do stuff for her. She recruited those people and tells them, you cannot stop at the end of February because this is this amazing business opportunity. And here is a list of the top people in the company globally. And you have no clue, you have no idea how much money they make, what a life they were able to set up for their own families. So you better work also end of February every single day. Don't wait for March, because it's important for you, when in reality, and we will take a look why, it is important for the people at the top that their downlines work every single day until the last day in February, because spoiler alert, their own checks are crumbling and are pretty much being cut in half now, allegedly. So let's continue. Just as a background information, these were all the top people that were in the top income earner list and that we regularly see. So those are not the people who are a strong representation of what most people in Monat can make. They're still the people at the top 1%, and even those people's paychecks allegedly are crumbling, which is not a surprise. If we see people leaving Monat left and right, it's harder to sell the product. That is why we have somebody who to me comes across as very desperate and very degrading towards the people she recruited at the end of February, yelling at them, you need to continue to work.
Do not message me and say March is going to be my month when there's still 3 days left in this month. And here's why. This is such a selfish way of thinking, because it's about you. It's about you. You're not close enough to whatever goal it is that you had set. There's people out there who can't even afford groceries right now. There's people out there who can't afford their car insurance. There's people out there who cannot afford gas.
So it is selfish at the end of February for you, if you allegedly run your own business, you're responsible for your own paycheck, to say, hey, February didn't turn out as I wanted to. I don't think I will achieve my goals, but I will try again in March, which is something a grown individual should be, a decision a grown individual, should be allowed to make themselves, especially if they're allegedly running their own businesses. For sure, independently contracted people who have that exact freedom to say, I'm going to take a step back now and I will try again in March. And it is selfish, which is typical for network marketers, to sell this as, I am really selfless. when I'm berating you because you're not working hard enough, because my paycheck and my upline's paychecks is crumbling. That's why I need you to work hard. But I'm going to cover this up in this idea that you have to do something positive for others. Otherwise, you're just being really, really selfish, because you need to show other people this glorious, ginormous opportunity, and other people might be missing out on being top income earners as well, just like the few people I mentioned at the beginning of the video. It is extremely disgusting, it is extremely desperate, and it is not a way I would ever allow anybody, if I'm freely contracted with a company, independently contracted with a company, to talk to me. That's just me. I don't react to that kind of tone well. Let's remember, this is somebody who at the end of February is yelling at the people on her training that they still have 3 more days left, and they shouldn't message her that they're now going to start to focus on March when they can still work in February desperately, the most ridiculous time of the month, and also the most desperate time of the month when they could still recruit and sell.
It is not about you. And if, I'm sorry, this is so booby, guys, sorry. It's, I'm working with...
Yeah, that's rude. Showing some cleavage is rude, but not that kind of crap? Okay, different standards, I guess.
Nursing and workout clothes and all the things. Anyways, you cannot expect to bring in a team that's going to work and believe that this business is possible if you yourself are not operating out of belief. If you, hey, be quiet, the baby's sleeping, I'm upstairs. Yes. You don't deserve a team that's going to come in and work if you yourself can't even show up like a leader. If you are not going live, you guys, thank you, bud. Did you pick this from the neighbor's yard? Okay, can we not pick the fruit from the neighbor's yard anymore? Okay. No, I don't. If you cannot show up for yourself and your business to serve other people, which ultimately is what we're doing in this business, you don't deserve a team that's going to work. And so many people are like, oh, I don't have a team that works. I don't have girls that want it. You don't want it. You don't want it. I'm not talking to you, buddy. Okay. You don't want it. Can you get me a plate? Give me a plate out of the dishwasher. If you can't do the things that it takes, like I cannot tell you, I'll like message someone and, be like, oh, let's go live or whatever. And they're doing X, Y, Z. Listen, I know life is busy. I have 4 kids. I have a humongous team. I have a husband. Like, yes, life is busy. I get it. No one gets it more than me. But if you can't take 7 minutes out of your day to show up online and go live and share this opportunity with other people, then you're not serious about the business yet. And that's okay, guys. It's okay to not be in that place. There was a time I wasn't in that place. There was a time that Krista texted me and I'm like, why is she texting me about 3 letters and why, all these things. I'm like, why? This is weird. Like, why is she messaging me? Like, I gotta go. I'm busy. I was actually at the beach with my aunt and Barley, and I was newly pregnant with Mila. And I'm like, why is she texting me? Like, this is weird. Anyways, I get it. There's a time and place, but do not convince yourself, if you're telling yourself that you're in it and then you're saying things like, March is my month, here, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z in March. No, you're not. No, you're not, because you're not doing it now. And if you don't give everything you have when you have the opportunity to do it, you might as well not even do it. And I get it. And please remember that I'm coming from this place of like, this business will change your life. This business is insane. This business has the opportunity to completely change your family's life. Completely, like we're talking generational wealth.
Yeah, we're not talking about generational wealth. That is this sickening thing about network marketers and even the people who probably believe this bull crap, excuse my language, who probably believe that yes, network marketing can change your life, when we see that the facts speak against it. And that is why it is so sickening to see that she is using the worldwide crisis at the moment, which is ongoing, it seems like for forever now, that people are struggling to put gas into their car, to pay their bills, to pay for food, to pay for housing, to say, I have an opportunity for you, I have the solution for you, you have the opportunity to make a lot of money, when we see that that is only applicable for very, very few people. And the top people in Monat, they're the best examples that Monat is not working for them anymore. Like I said, follow MLM Unmasked if you're interested in this topic specifically in Monat. They have a lot of really valuable information to share. And Ivy was number 12 of the top 50 global income earners in Monat, and she is making less and less and less. Faith Drew made allegedly, and she was at number 10 of the global income earners, allegedly made $45,000 that month, which means Ivy, who is number 12, makes less than her. Then we have Jade Free at number 6, who allegedly made $50,000, and Nadine Tucson from Germany, at number 9, she made 51K. Those are the top people. Globally, the top people in a company that is allegedly so successful and can provide generational wealth. You don't create generational wealth if you make $50,000. There are also expenses and there are also taxes connected to that income. So very likely that paycheck will be cut in half or a third will be taken off. And once again, it is a lot of money to a lot of people if you're able to make $50,000 in 1 month. But these are supposed to be the tippity top people in Monate, allegedly one of the best compensation plan network marketing companies that treat their people as good as can be. And they're not able to pop up their top people to make more than 50-something thousand. Now, allegedly, Ivy, once again, the top people. Those are not the people at the middle ranks. These are supposed to be the absolute top of the pops in Monate. And Ivy at number 12 allegedly made less than $45,000 for that month. And typically she makes almost double. So she and her upline, Krista, therefore, are seeing that their paychecks are not what they used to be anymore. And I would suspect that everybody in that company, also the top people, also the Julie Stevens and the Ann Fishers, who pretty much get handed a third of a former network marketer's downline, they're seeing that as well. Now, once again, if Ivy allegedly that month made $45,000, that is still a good amount of money, but she built a life and a lifestyle based on an income that is almost double. And she is seeing her paycheck crumbling. That's why I believe there's this desperation. She is parading around her multiple homes that she has, how you can furnish them beautifully, how you can live a frugal life. Well, she says, well, we're switching homes. 1 month we're in this home in one state, and the other month we're in that home in the other state. She and her husband have a lot of children, and she is the one who has to pay for the bills. I don't believe her husband is working anymore. They all wanted to retire their husbands, and now they're pretty much the ones who have to make an income sufficient for themselves, their partner, and their gazillion children. She is one of those people who is really popping out children left and right. Good for her if that's what she wants, but in this day and age, to feed one child is pricey. At least of all the 4 or 5 children. I think she has 4 children now. Least of all 4 children, and the responsibility, the sole responsibility of creating an income for you and your family is on her. That must be absolutely stressful. And I believe that's why we see her trying to berate people on a training on social media, independently contracted salespeople who dare to not work the last 3 days in February because they have decided, I'm going to focus on March now and I'm going to message my upline.
We're talking about how your children are raised, because maybe your husband doesn't have to work weekends anymore. Maybe you get to homeschool your kids now because you can afford to do that because you don't have to go to a normal job. Like, we're talking life-changing things. First of all, of course the enemy doesn't want that for your life, because your children will be raised differently. You will have the freedom to take them to worship on a random Thursday, to make sure that you're prioritizing church and church activities and church community, like all of these things, right? Of course the enemy's gonna attack that, but my point is that I'm coming from that place. Look, you can make grocery money, you can make insurance money, you can make, maybe you wanna redo your kitchen. Okay, cool, like save for that, whatever. Those are really good goals to have, and my goals in the beginning were not ginormous goals at first. My goals were, I just want to pay an extra $200 to this debt and $200 to this debt and $200 this to that. And then it was like, I just want to pay for all of our groceries for the month, and I want money to be the vessel that pays for the groceries. And then it turned into like, oh my gosh, we're paying for groceries, and now we're saving, and now we're able to do this, and now we're going to go on a little family vacation, and then it's going to pay for my home birth cash, and I don't have to stress about that anymore. Like, these are the things that are going to lead you there. But if you are not every single day, and I tell one of my girls, as we talk about this a lot, but you have to win the day. Win the day. Stop looking at the month. Stop looking at, we still have what, 3 days, 4 days?
She seems so erratic. I mean, if she didn't have such an attitude, I would almost feel sorry for her. But she seems to be like she's all over the place, because you have the ability to homeschool your children. And whenever she has a training, whenever she posts, there are always children around her. When she's supposed to train her people, she is never doing this in a calm and rested space where she has the ability to focus on what she's doing. I don't believe she has the ability to focus on her children either, just based on how she treats this business of hers, because she doesn't have the ability to focus on that. And many times you do need to multitask. I have people in my family, also single parents, who have to multitask, but they also need to find a spot to solely focus on their child or their children, just spend quality time with them. And then on the other side, they also need to focus on working, because that's what you got to do when you are an adult. She is never, and we've seen this before, she chopped up an orange for her child that her child allegedly stole from the neighbors. And we're knowing this now. She's not supposed to do that, which is good to teach your children that. Yeah, I agree with that, but I should know that she said, hey, you stole an orange from our neighbors. Please don't do that ever again. Boundaries. We're talking boundaries. Certain things are things I should know. They should remain private. That is the lifestyle that she is promoting. And then she also says you shouldn't focus on the month, but that's exactly what she does. So focus on the bigger picture. But before, she berates and is pretty much spanking her team, pushing them into the place she needs them to be, says, no, you still have 3 days left in February, you need to work now. But also focus on the bigger picture, but also work in February now. There's 3 days left. I would call that focusing on the month. And the desperation is, as I said before, because her paycheck is crumbling. Her upline's paycheck is crumbling. And she is the number 12 top income earner in January in Monat globally. And allegedly her paycheck is almost cut in half. That is why we see her on this team training, which is just a glorified live yelling at her audience.
And people are like, oh, March. No, it's still February. Today, people still are on their phones. Today, people are still on Instagram. Today, people are still looking up homeschool information. So we're talking about niche here. They're looking up homeschool. They're looking up decluttering. They're looking up Amanda Johnson, horse riding. They're looking up traveling. They're whatever. People are on their phones today. It's not just like, oh, people are done on the phone, so I'm not going to work. No, if you had a job and you were like, this job just really didn't go the way that I thought it was going to this month, and so I'm just, I'll be back. I'll show up for my shift, in March. We'll try again in March. You'd be fired. Your boss would be like, no, you have a shift tonight. You have a shift tomorrow. Like, sorry that your shifts didn't look the way you wanted to them in March, or in February, but you still have a shift. Like, you still have a job. And it's kind of the same with this business.
No, it's totally not the same with this business, as they always like to tell us. But conveniently now we're making that comparison again to the horrible, horrible corporate job or to the horrible employment job you might have. If you are employed and you're hired to do a shift at a certain time and you don't call in sick, you cannot explain why you are not able to do the shift. If you still have to work in February and you show up in March, yes, you're in trouble. You might not get fired, you might get a warning, you might get kicked out then and there. The laws work differently in different countries. But yeah, do you have an obligation to show up? You're contractually obliged to work certain days, certain hours. There might be more or less flexibility, and you have to show up. But if you allegedly run your own business and you're in charge of what you're doing and you're in charge of your time freedom as an independently contracted salesperson for Modern Nature to sell products, but specifically to recruit, it is up to you to make the decision that you do not want to work the last 3 days in February. Now, is that smart? Probably not. It's probably also a desperate move, just like she, in my opinion, is desperate, from those who say, hey, I didn't achieve anything in March. It doesn't make any sense for me. I will not be hitting my goals. I will not be able to rank up. I might not be able to hold my rank, whatever it is. Of course, I'm speculating here. I don't know the background of the people who messaged her that, but it is their choice and it is their decision, because they're not employed by her. They're independently contracted, and Monat only pays them if they're able to sell and if they're able to recruit and if they're able to hit their monthly requirements. So of course, as an independently contracted salesperson, in the end of the month is the craziest time. It would make sense to say, I'm going to try this. I'm still going to work, and then I will maybe take a little break at the beginning of the month. From a logical perspective, that makes sense to me, but nobody can tell their team, no, you have to show up and work because otherwise in other jobs you would get fired. I thought that was the exact advantage, the time freedom that you can decide when you're going to work, because you don't have a boss. You don't have to answer to anyone. It's completely up to you. Yet here we are on a team called training, and we're being yelled at by our upline because we decided we're not going to work the last 3 days in February, because you couldn't do that either if you were employed.
And I see this a lot, and people have the opportunity to kind of make up these scenarios in their minds of like what feels good to themselves, and accept that narrative for their life, and accept that narrative for their business, and accept that narrative for their goals instead of pursuing their goals because it feels better. If you have to admit that there's 4 days left in the month and you're further than what you thought, maybe there's 5 days, today's Wednesday, 4 days, and you're further than what you thought you were going to be at this time, it feels better to make up an excuse of why that happened. Oh, it's just not, you know, and instead of pushing through that thing that ultimately is going to be the thing that builds your business, right? It's going to be that rep, it's going to be that workout, it's going to be that run, it's going to be that walk, it's going to be that healthy meal that's literally going to tick you over to the momentum that you need, and people will come up with an excuse of why they're not going to do that. And so instead of going in, right, instead of pressing in, this light is really bad, you guys. Instead of pressing in, they come up with all these excuses of why they're not going to. And so I'm just here popping on to tell you that everything that you want out of this business, from this business, is on the other side of serving other people. And you can only serve other people if you stop serving yourself.
She is serving other people by yelling at them online, but still her paycheck is crumbling. So how much of a server is she really? I think she's outing herself here. If she is allegedly this person who serves other people, who will work until the very last day of the month, but yet she's not able to pull it off to get back up to the paycheck that she had in the past, then maybe there is something fundamentally wrong with the business model and not with the attitude or with the passion or you wanting to build the life that you could build. Maybe it's the business model that is working against you and network marketing companies that are now dying. Maybe that's something we could consider. Or if you have people on your team and they simply don't have the energy at the end of February, if they're not doing Monday full time, to push through and to try to get the next rep and try to get the next sale, maybe they need to focus on the thing that actually makes the money. And that might not be Monate. Maybe they have another job. Maybe they have 2 other jobs. Maybe they do have a shift they have to go to because that is what pays their life. And that is probably also what pays this Monate nonsense for them. So they're focusing possibly on the things that actually make them money.
If you stop telling yourself that, oh, well, I am uncomfortable about where my goal is right now. So I, this is what people do. Me, I have this, I have that, all these things. I am going to just do this because that feels better. But guess what? People don't become successful only when it feels good. You become successful when you adapt, you change, you push through the hard, okay? If you can't show up on these apps and go live, why are you trying to build a business? And I know I use this analogy a lot, but think about a coffee shop. Imagine a coffee shop opens down the street and they're like,
But interestingly enough, she's pushing through and she's tried, but her paycheck is still tanking.
Just don't really like social media, so I don't want to be on there. And you're like, I didn't even know you guys opened. I didn't even know you guys existed. I had no idea. Imagine that. You guys, every single business plan right now in 2026 has a built-in marketing strategy via social media. And so if you are someone and you want to make $30,000 a month, $100,000.
I can put the rubber bands on here, and then I can get the iron.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Hey, make sure you guys are not picking the fruit out of the neighbor's yard.
Okay.
Hey, look at me.
I told Bill not to.
Well, he's following what you guys are doing. All right. So let's not do that anymore. Okay.
Okay.
That's not appropriate. Sorry. That's not a discussion I need to know. That's not appropriate to post that. How you discipline your child, that should be private. I don't want to know these things.
Anyways, if you guys can't do the hard, why even do this business? And if you're, like I said, if you're not going to show up for your girls that join you with that belief by simply going live with them, you guys, a live should not be a half hour. A live should not be 20 minutes. A live should be 5 to 10 minutes max talking about the 5 points of why someone should join this business, talking about your personal reasons of why you didn't join for maybe a while, or maybe someone else, like what held you back, what you were nervous about, what you have come to find out now, what it feels like, you know, have you been paid, have you not been paid, how someone else can come in and get paid. These are the topics. You guys go to the Facebook page, type in 5 points. These are the topics that you should be talking about in your life. If you're not doing that, if you can't show up for 5 to 15, 30 minutes of your day by going live with your girls that you've brought into this business, and if you don't have girls yet, then go live with a sideline. You guys, we have lots of chats where we have multiple people in our entire team, our larger team, that can go live with you. Guess what else? Guess what else? We have all these countries with all these different time zones now. We have Germany, we have Austria, we have Australia, we have Canada, a similar time zone to us, but we have all these different time zones. There's literally no reason why you can't grab someone and say, hey, let's go live at this time.
Are you joking? We have all of these different time zones, so you could actually work 24/7. Work the last 4 days at the end of February, because there's always somebody awake in the different time zones and you could just post. But it's not about her. Let's not forget this. It's about serving others while her paycheck is crumbling. But it's about others. That's why you should work across time zones, pretty much around the clock, especially at the end of the month. Okay, got it.
Also, stop being like, oh, we're going to go live next week. No, today. Take 10 minutes out of your day today. Guess what? People don't relate to the perfect things. People don't relate to the girl with the perfectly, ready hair and the perfect lighting. And no, they relate to the mom that's going live in her kitchen after she made breakfast, because that's how she runs this business. They appreciate the mom that's maybe sitting in the school pickup line in her car, going live with someone talking about this business, and she's talking about how she literally just got a customer while sitting in the pickup line. Like, these are the things that people relate to. It's not the one that's sitting down with the perfect light and the perfect chair and the perfect background, and there's like silence and nothing's going on. Like, no, people don't relate to that. I literally joined Krista when she was living in a freaking RV. Her hair was a mess, but I was watching her do this business. I watched her buy a house, and I was like, wait, what? I was blown away. You gotta show up in the hard. You guys, she would get on her stories and her lives on Facebook when she was like a mess. She didn't even have a bra on. She breast milk all over. She didn't have a voice. She sounded like she hadn't slept in weeks. I don't know. But that's what brought me in. And I just want to encourage you guys, it's gonna feel hard. If you are gonna change your life to a point where you're making $100,000 a month, you guys, it's going to be hard. It's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel, foreign. I had all these moments too. I literally self-sabotaged myself, my entire business. And I kept having to learn, okay, honestly, it came down to me humbling myself before God, okay, what do you want me to do in this business?
But I thought it's not about her, but she wants to know what God wants her to do, allegedly. And if she truly now just makes $45,000 a month, at least in January, as the number 12 income earner in Monate that month, then it looks like it's not working out for her either. And it's this desperation that you need to work. You could work around the clock. I watched somebody who was able to build a life, a successful life, a house, her upline, and that's why I needed to do it as well. She got pretty much lucky and recruited half of Australia. That is why she was able to rank up, and now she also realizes that it is not sustainable. But go live no matter what, whether you're perfect or imperfect. None of that is perfect for sure, and it is imperfect to the degree that she is pretty much outing the dark sides of network marketing, the desperation, how to not speak to people, that you're obviously not building your own business if somebody else speaks to you like this, if they're berating you like this, because you as your own business owner make the decision to not work the last 3 or 4 days of the month. And I do hope that these posts, these lives, and also these videos show how horribly nasty people in network marketing can get with the belief that they're doing something that is of advantage for others, not just for themselves. Who wants to join a company? Who wants to join a team, a downline, a person, if being spoken to like that? And if you pretty much say, well, I had an upline, she was desperate, so I was desperate, I started to work, I saw what she was doing, she was pretty much working herself into the ground, and whoop-de-doop, I signed up, so can you. You're outing network marketing as the horrible shit show it is. That's why I'm also showing you these kind of videos. And I'm in kind of an awe, I know I'm repeating myself, in what kind of an echo chamber and mindset you have to be to think that this is a great life to attract people, to attract new people to this business opportunity while you pretty much show your desperation at the dark side of network marketing. I hope that people wake up more and more and more, and that network marketing is dying out more and more and more.
What do you want me to do in this business? And what does that look like? And what does my day look like? And what does it feel like? And who's around me? And you know, what do I need to do? What do I need to cut out? What do I need to stop doing? Right? Like, these are all the things that I had to personally work through to get my business to where it is. And I don't want you guys to believe this like almost fake, fluffy narrative that it's not hard, or that it doesn't take work, or it doesn't take pushing back. Ask yourself right now, if you're still watching this, ask yourself right now, what is it that you want? Why are you doing this business? Why are you doing this? Are you doing this so you can like pay a year of your car insurance? Great, that's a really good goal. Are you doing this so you can pay double payments on your car payment? Great, okay, go work the business. Go work it every single day. Every single day. If you are someone that wants even $5,000 a month check from your phone, have you worked this month like someone who does that? Because guess what? Like every single other job in the world, you have to show up like that person before you see that money in your checking account. You have to clock in 40 plus hours before you're going to get a check that reflects 40 plus hours. And it's so weird to me that in regular society, people will so easily go to a job, like you don't actually know if you're going to get paid. What if that company closes down all of a sudden? What if they decide not to pay you? What, like all these things, okay? But like in this industry, people are like, oh, you know, no, I just, they don't show up like the rank that they want.
You're contractually, you have a certain contractual stability if your employer doesn't pay you. You're not without power. But Monat could do the very same thing that she now accuses regular jobs of. They could decide to not pay you tomorrow. They could decide to shut down the network marketing side of the business model from one day to another. They could decide to change their compensation plan overnight so that people wouldn't get their commission, that they wouldn't get the payment from their recruitment efforts. The same thing. Monat could say, well, we will fire your ass right now. We will just terminate the agreement with you. You pretty much signed over all your rights to us, which you don't do if you are an employee in an actual job, in a legitimate job, legitimate company. You have more leverage there. The same thing could happen to you in Monat. In fact, it is more likely that these things happen to you in Monat, where in some countries, network marketing companies pretty much just shut down within the month and everybody got kicked out. So that logic doesn't stand. And according to what she said before, does that mean that she now allegedly just wants to make paychecks $45,000 and not $70,000 anymore? The amount she allegedly made before? Does that mean that she's not putting in the effort to make $70K a month? Does it mean she wants to make $45,000 now? It's a weird logic.
They don't show up like the rank that they want. They don't show up like an SED if they want to be an SED. I remember being at MM and being like, what the heck? What do I need to do to get to where my uplines are? And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, they have these parties all the time. And I remember my very first time, I walked down, I was like, okay, God, put my headphone on, I put a sermon on. I walked down to this venue that wasn't that far from my house. The girls would fall asleep in the stroller. I walked down there, it was huge hills. I'm like, okay, God, I need to have an event. I hear you, I need to have an event. So I walk down there, I meet with the lady. She tells me how much it is. She tells me with the rent, to rent this place. I'm like, okay, all right, I'll take it. Like, here's a deposit. Rented this venue. I hired a DJ. I ordered these cute little like donuts. We got food. I ordered, balloons. I ordered a backdrop. I ordered flowers. All the flowers were so pretty. I ordered flowers, like all of these things, okay? And that was my entire check, first of all. That was my entire check. But that's besides the point. I showed up like the rank I wanted to achieve. And guess what that did? It brought in people that also wanted to do that. It also brought in people that wanted to work like that. It also brought in people that saw what I was doing and was like, okay, I need to do that.
The tapping with a pen is really annoying. Don't do that if you're ever on social media. It's really distracting. Does that also mean she showed up as the rank she wanted to be at, the SED rank? Does it mean she doesn't want to be at the SED rank anymore because she's not showing up as an SED anymore? She's not at the top rank anymore. She dropped in rank. So she doesn't want to be at the SED rank. That means she's not putting in the work. She's not booking the venues anymore. She's not on her phone regularly. She's not on lives and on team calls as much as she should be, because then she would be able to make $70K allegedly again. She would be at the top rank again. So she chose to not make the amount of money she made before, and she chose to not be at the rank she was at before.
Right? Some of you are like, oh, I want to be MM, or I want to be this, or I want to be that, and you can't even go live. Guys, it's 5 to 7 minutes of your day. Go live. Go live with your downlines. Launch them. Lives are not just about the time that you're spending going live, okay? It's about the video that's going to live on your page. People are going to watch it and be curious. They're going to then go watch your other reels. They're going to watch your stories, and they're going to go back and watch that live. People are also then going to watch your next live. So you save your live, and then they see it, and then they see you go live again, and then those seeds are being watered, okay? It's not just about like the action. It's about serving your people that are joining you and serving the people who haven't even yet joined you. You going live is serving those people. You going live is showing those people what they can do in this business, what's possible. You're serving them without even, it's almost like motherhood. Like you are taking care of and nourishing this thing that's not even born yet. It's the same thing in this business. It's like,
No, it's supposed to be a business. Business is not about motherhood. Those are two different things.
taking care of your body, eating right, sleeping, loving this thing that you haven't even seen yet. It's belief. You are pregnant with purpose in this business. Anyways, I gotta get off of here because I want this video to be able to save to our Facebook page so you guys can watch it later. But I hope you enjoyed this little virtual spanking and that you guys show up like you actually want to succeed in this business, because a lot of people have their own self-doubt, their own things other people have said to them. They're replaying, comments from haters in their minds. They're doing all these things that are not in alignment with what they truly in their heart want for themselves, their family, and this business, and their team. And they're acting out of the ways of what other people have projected onto them, which isn't reality. So, love you guys. Happy month end. I'm so fired up. Bye.
I don't know about you, but I wouldn't feel loved after this rant, after this virtual spanking, if I were on that person's team. And this was the number 12 income earner in Monat globally in January, whose paycheck is allegedly tanking, almost cut in half now, and that's why I believe she's being so erratic and so desperate at the end of February, because she needs her people to work more. And she's doing this while disguising this as a service to other people. It's not about her. A digital spanking of her team disguised as a team call online, while also sharing information that I don't want to know. I don't want to know that you don't want your child to take oranges from your neighbor's garden. A valuable lesson for children, absolutely, but I don't want to know any of that. While going live might be good for the business, although also hers allegedly is crumbling, there are also certain informations you might not want to share. Privacy is something I value a lot, and a network marketer raising their children is not something I want to see online. There's a space for that, and that is called private. That was longer than I expected, with some technical difficulties. Like I said, I'm a little bit rusty now after my vacation, but I thought it was a good start. Ivy and her desperation, the number 12 income earner in Monat globally in January. Not a person, not a team, not a company, not a system I would want to join. If even the top people are getting more and more desperate now that they have to speak to people like this. Let me know your thoughts, what you thought about this. Don't forget to follow MLM Unmasked on Instagram if you want to know more about Monat specifically and about those nitty gritty details, easily digestible on Instagram. I will link their account down below. Thank you for listening in. Thank you for your support. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I will see you in my next one. Until then, cheers!